The African world and its diaspora is one of the greatest diasporas on planet Earth, not only based on size and land and skill sets, but in the way that black people shape how the world works, how people dance, how they emulate us. Everything you can say and name is responsible because of Africa and its diaspora. And these blacks represent a huge spending power. They represent a lot of diversity, cultures, languages, and historical background. But there seems to be an issue in why we can't get along. There is something that is holding us back. And it's not necessarily how we see each other, because we can understand those differences and learn from that, but how we see another group of people, foreigners, white and Chinese. Now, why am I talking about that? Because blacks understand that we're going to be different. Nigerians and African Americans are Caribbeans. We know that we're different. We also know that parts of us are the same, but we can understand the differences and we can try to work those out. Sometimes we fight and sometimes we call each other names, but we understand we come from a common ancestral group, many of us. And for some of us, that's okay. But the one thing that pisses off us in the diaspora about other blacks is how they disrespect our people in front of non-blacks. And that's even been a topic here on YouTube. You'll always see those videos titled African Americans versus Africans, or Black British versus Black British Caribbeans versus Black British Africans, things like that. And the big fight that you see in between all groups is how the blacks should see themselves and how one group have no problem with humiliating their own subgroup in front of whites or Asians or oppressors, typically of black people. And this is the case in today's video. Tariq Nasheed posted a very graphic video on his page of this Nigerian lady who appears to be Nigerian or West African lady. Well, I'll try to see if you can understand what she's doing here.
No? Okay. So I'm trying so hard to concentrate, so hard to work for you and attend to you. So please appreciate my efforts, okay? These are your products, all right? We don't make these products in bulk. Allow me to walk now. What kind of thing is this? Allow me to walk now. We don't make these products in bulk. We don't keep them. We make them from scratch for you after you make payments. Fresh. Just for you. Okay? So this is from Siri in Ningi in Bauchi State.
So this is her and her non-black boyfriend. I don't know if that person is Asian or some parts of being European, but I know that he's not black. And this African lady here is kissing this guy, but she's picking cotton. Isn't that very interesting? She's picking cotton. Now, who picked cotton? Oh, okay. That was African Americans who picked cotton. My mother used to pick cotton in the summer times in Louisiana, and so did my grandmother. But that was optional. It was for pay. A lot of our ancestors picked cotton because we had to, or else you die. That was called slavery. So now, what is this lady trying to do? What is she insinuating when she's doing this? Now, I have a video called Can Africans Say the N-Word Without Offending African Americans? I want to play a clip of this video because the presenter Babaluku, who's a Ugandan Canadian, is going to say some things like, a lot of Africans just don't know, right? And that's why some of them say the N-word.
For me, when I came here, a lot of people used to call me, you look like a nigga, and I used to kind of refrain, and I'm like, listen, you might want to call me a king versus that.
Mm-hmm. But why did they say you look like, but what was it about you?
I was sharing with you that due to the media resets of the information they have received on television via all this music we're watching, all these movies that are coming out, right? That's the power and influence of media. So I wouldn't want my peers in the Americas to think that Africans are calling you nigger because they understand the history of the word. They don't have a clue on what, that definition is. Matter of fact, most often when you school them, they'll drop it quick.
Oh,
they will not even go ahead and say that to you again. Mm-hmm. So I think that we have to have that contrast of knowing what information has done over time Other than that, like no one is out here in Africa trying to be a nigga. Like, yeah, you're free. Like you're free out here. You know?
Now, I can respect his opinion on that particular podcast, and you can go check it out on my Kingana YouTube channel. You can go subscribe at the bell there, and also hit subscribe at the bell here on this channel. I have a lot of my great in-depth podcasts over there on that channel. And I can understand that some Africans just don't know what the N-word means. But this case is blatant. This is a lady who has a non-black boyfriend that's picking cotton, specifically trying to throw shots at African Americans. So once I see something like this, I had to respond like this, okay? We have seen certain evidences of Africans around white people who say the N-word and they are not offended. And we got to be honest. I like the excuses that you guys are giving, but y'all know what happened to our people. You know. We know. The reason why we know is because Museveni just apologized about it. And y'all keep saying, we need you to come what? Back. When you say Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and you see us a black person like you, Mike Tyson, what do the Africans say? What do Burna Boy say? We wanted to be like them. Well, why are they there? What's the biggest music genre in Uganda?
Afrobeat.
No, besides that.
Hip hop.
It's dancehall.
Oh.
How did they get over to Jamaica? You think the Africans don't know that? What about the Africans in South Africa? Do they know about what happened to Amapiano? Do y'all know what happened to their people? Africans know what happened to them. So why do Africans act like you don't know? You do know what happened. My problem is, if you get around a bunch of white people.
I want to talk about them too. You know, they're assimilating more folks that get around white people and act like you're like they're
that's
not
what we're talking about. Yeah. So we're talking about those when somebody else calls me that, you ain't talking about me. And that's the problem that African Americans have, because yes, they are talking about your black too. They talking about you too. You see, what keeps Africans or African Americans divided? And again, it goes both ways. We can say offensive things to them, although to be honest, I haven't seen us making these kind of videos. And to be fair, most Africans don't make these kind of videos dissing blacks like that, or even the other way around. You hear some people that are talking about it on Twitter and usually, but it's never this blatant that I have seen. And I want to say something. Don't you realize, as a black woman doing that, they're talking about you? You see, this is what people don't know from other groups when they behave like this. You see, you have this non-black person who's kissing you as you're picking cotton. Do you absolutely believe that this guy, or actually believe that this guy has any respect for you or your people? See, you think that you're making fun of another group, but what you're telling him is you're making fun of your own group, because he sees you in the same way that he would see us. And as long as you got your black skin, that's what happens. See, I don't know why people think that, you know, how whites judge us is any different. And I learned that when I lived in Poland. You see, I used to walk down the street hanging out with Zimbabweans or Nigerians, and then some car would walk or drive by, and that car would shout out racial slurs. It didn't happen often, but when it did, we understood who they were talking to. And I couldn't look around and be like, well, he's talking to y'all. He's not talking to me because I have an American citizenship. Yes, he was talking to me. Anybody black, you get categorized as being black, as being African, and it's not white. It's not Chinese, or it's not whatever it is of the person's race or ethnicity that's calling you the slur. You see, and you think because you're having sex with them or you're going to bed with them that somehow they respect you, and they don't. And this is what black people start to understand. Even when I used to hear this comment back in the day, when I used to work at a job and things like that many, many years ago, and I would have certain people tell me in my 20s, like, oh, you know, you speak very well. You're not indicative like some of the other people that I see from your community. At a certain point, I used to take that as a compliment because I just wasn't woke yet. I didn't understand what that meant. And I used to also hate certain, you know, aspects of the community. And I was like, well, you know, that's true. These people do act like this. So, you know, the fact that this person is saying that I'm hardworking and that I don't talk like them, it makes me feel better about myself, but it's a backhanded compliment. What do you mean when you say that? No, there are a lot of people in the black community that are more talented and even more intelligent and make me look silly. There's so many brothers and sisters out here in black America that got absurd God-given talent. It can make me look like a mouse. So what are you trying to say? Are you trying to say that our people don't have that capability? Are you barely running into them? But we know that that's not true. And when you say it about me as a black person, I want to make sure that whoever you come across as a black person, you never said it about. I don't care who it is, a Nigerian, a Kenyan, a Haitian, a black British. Because the thing about it is this, once you go to Dubai, all Arabs stand together. Everybody, all right? When you go to Dubai, they all stand. There is no offending a Saudi Arabia. Or if you go to Oman, you don't talk about an Emirati, okay? You don't talk about an Egyptian. The Arab world is united. You talk about one, you talk about all, and they realize that. They pick up on that very fast. That's why they have a term called Pan-Arabism. Pan-Arabism. That's why the Dubai military or the Emirati military, only people that can serve in that military is Arabs. You can't go serve them. You can't work in their militaries because you're not an Arab. And you talk about one, you talk about all. And for me, I don't try to differentiate between the groups, because if you see a Nigerian American and you call him that, I know what you're going to say about me next. If you call a black woman that, I don't care what issues I would have with a black woman, what issues I would have with a black man, a Jamaican, Caribbean, and Haitian, or whoever, South African, and we can get into those things. We know we have those beefs sometimes. But me letting that slide means that you're gonna come back for me. The same thing that the ancestors went through in slavery. They thought they were selling off their enemies. And then all they did was, once they got too weak, the white man came and got them too. Because the white man look at us as the same. And until blacks understand that, I'm not saying we gotta all like each other. I'm not saying we all gotta support each other, because that's not possible. But we do need to understand that we make ourselves look bad when we go out here and sell out like her. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I appreciate you for all you just heard the bell. We're out.